Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, back once again with an exclusive interview for our YouTube channel, Tru Heels BTR Between the Ropes. This time we are here with former Impact World Champion Eddie Edwards. Thank you so much for joining us, Eddie, and how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good, and thank you for having me. And also, it's two-time world heavyweight champion, two-time world champion. Okay, sorry.
I like to specify. I say former Impact World Champion, former TNA Heavyweight Champion
Oh,
as
okay.
well. Yeah, that's what I did think about that before.
Respect.
No, you are so accomplished and have done so much in Impact Wrestling. That's why I was so excited to talk to you, especially coming at the tail end of 2022, which has been probably one of your biggest kind of transformations over a year that you ever had. Kind of reflecting back to January 2022, how did you see this year transpiring, and how different do you think it's come out for you?
Whenever I go into a new year, I just hope and wish for the best. I have my mindset. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. I'm going to make the best of any situation I'm given. But I don't think I ever saw this year turning out the way it did. With Honor No More joining, and getting my world title shot against Josh Alexander, Bound for Glory. Um, I had high hopes, and it definitely lives up to that. I didn't win the world title. That's always a failure on my part. Thanks for bringing that up. But overall, I feel like it was a good year. We didn't achieve our goal. Our mission wasn't accomplished, but overall, it was pretty well, and I'm looking forward to next year.
Yeah, you've definitely done so much, and Honor No More has been such a big part of 2022 for Impact Wrestling. And you kind of told us kind of what was your thought process on joining everything in the promo early on when you joined the group, kind of feeling like you kind of been passed over by Impact Wrestling. Do you still have that same emotion, that same feeling, even though Honor No More is no longer with the company?
Yeah, I mean that's a scar that's not going to fade anytime soon. I feel like I gave my all for Impact Wrestling. I continue to do that, and at certain times that I am overlooked, where it's like, oh, Eddie's here type thing versus let's give Eddie this shot, let's give Eddie that chance. That's something that will always stick with me, and it's a chip that I'm going to carry on my shoulder, which I'm going to use that for this new year coming up.
And one of the things you said in that promo that was so fascinating to me, and it's kind of stuck with me ever since you said it, was the Kenny Omega title run in Impact Wrestling. Because when Kenny Omega became champion in 2021, one of the first rematches I thought Impact would have done was you versus Kenny Omega. He was a guy coming into Impact Wrestling, and no one bled Impact Wrestling like Eddie Edwards. Was there a situation where you felt like it was like undeniable that you should have got that opportunity at Kenny and were denied that? Because my mind, I instantly think of you getting the win over the Undisputed Elite back at Under Siege last year.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. You read my mind, and that I spoke about that in the promo. I got the win over that team, and I should have been the next on that list to fight for Impact Wrestling, which is all that I wanted to do, was to fight for Impact and give my all for the company and win that world title back. But I was passed over once again. And I had to sit there and wait and bide my time, wait for the opportunity that never came.
Yeah, and you had to wait till this year, and you and Josh Alexander put on one of the best matches of this year. Kind of what kind of matches or moments are gonna kind of stand out to you from 2022 that you kind of can use as motivation to have an even bigger 2023?
Well, of course, that match from Bound for Glory against Josh, the outcome, alone. But for me, the year, it's more about the mission and the group that was on No More. That's gonna really, whenever I think about 2022, that's what's gonna come to mind. Having this group, fighting for the same thing, having people who believe in what I believe in, people who felt what I felt, and what they felt. They've been passed over. They've given their all for companies, and they've had their backs. People turn their backs on them. And it was nice to have that solidarity going forward. And that's something that I did cherish at the time, to be able to do that with friends and do that with people who thought the same as me. Going forward, next year I'm going to be using just kind of how the year didn't turn out how I wanted it to. Obviously I didn't win that world title. Honor No More has been, has dissolved and is no longer. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to put all that up in this chip right up here and use that for next year going forward to try to create something new and try to get that world title back around my waist.
And reflecting back on Honor No More just a little bit more, you kind of opened the door of Impact Wrestling to the entire group, and so much alum and so many talented people came from that like final era of the Sinclair broadcasting era of Ring of Honor. Was there anyone that you think you wish that you could have opened the door for to also join Honor No More that wasn't in the group?
Whenever I think of Ring of Honor, I think of the Briscoes. The Briscoes did come to Impact, for a bit. They were the Impact Tag Champions, but I would have loved if we could have convinced them to join Honor No More. And even, a guy that I've fought with numerous times over the years, Moose. I would have loved to have Moose come on board to Honor No More. It just wasn't in the cards. And in the end, we had who we had, and we did whatever we could do.
That was a great shout because a lot of people forget Moose's history with Ring of Honor. That really started his wrestling career. So I love that's a great shout. And speaking of kind of Ring of Honor, you have two of your guys from Honor No More seem like they're kind of going back into that Ring of Honor show in Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. They recently debuted on AEW Rampage, and you're a person who has so much history with Ring of Honor. I discovered you in Ring of Honor when you were kind of wearing like a tight green tights. You had the longer hair and stuff. So I've kind of followed your career for a long time and know your legacy in Ring of Honor. Is there ever a thought in your mind, maybe not, going there full time, but making one last appearance for Ring of Honor? Is that something that might be in the running in the next year?
In the next year, who knows? In the world of professional wrestling, you never say never. Who knows what's going to happen? Could it happen? Yeah. Do I need it to happen? No. But something that could happen down the road, sure. But for me, I'm focused on what Impact Wrestling is doing in this coming year. That's my main focus.
You're doing great things here, and you recently have had your run-ins with another former Honor No More member, PCO. And if fans of Impact Wrestling recently saw to close the show, we saw a familiar hand come out the dirt. So are you kind of looking behind your back and expecting that monster to come after you again?
I haven't seen him. Where's he at? Sure his hand pokes up, but now what? He's been quiet, hasn't he? He's been gone. So at this point, the whole thing is I want to bury that part. I need to bury PCO. I need to bury Honor No More. I need to bury this past year and move forward. I just want to look towards the future. That's what I'm focused on now. So PCO, hopefully he was just tired and stretching his hand out, and he's going to stay in that little pit that I put him in. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen down the road? But I just want to think about the future.
And speaking of the future, Hard to Kill is kind of the big event that's coming up next for Impact Wrestling. And we already have the main event already set. Two guys that you're very familiar with. You have already talked about you and Josh Alexander, your classic at Bound for Glory this year. But he has a new challenger who seems to have done the biggest move possible to get under Josh Alexander's skin, and that's a place that you're used to, and that's Bully Ray with his actions at Overdrive. What was your take on that scene at the end of that show, and who do you think is going to walk out with Hard to Kill and probably have Eddie Edwards' sights on them as Impact World Champion?
In the end, Josh was right about Bully. He was concerned and he thought he was, a politician and, a scumbag and a guy who does whatever he needs to do to be in that world title to get the job. And in the end, that's what he did. So Josh shouldn't be surprised by it. I don't think anybody was surprised by it. I think maybe people were surprised the way it went down because it was relatively shocking. And, Bully's going to do what Bully needs to do. and he did it at Overdrive. At Hard to Kill, it's this is a match. This is an opponent that Josh hasn't seen. He's familiar with him. Everybody knows Bully Ray, but you don't know the mentality that he has clearly. Going to this match, you don't know what he will do or what he won't do to win that world title. So I think it's a tall task that Josh has. In the end, I think Josh will come out on top. I feel like he's just on that. He's on another level right now, being that world champion. I speak from experience. I was in there with them, but Josh is on that level, and I think he's going to pull out that win and remain the Impact World Champion after Hard to Kill.
Indeed, indeed. I'm looking forward to that matchup. Looking forward to everything that's in store for you. And especially with the new year coming up, there's big events all over the wrestling landscape. Another place that you have a lot of history with is Pro Wrestling Noah, and they're gearing up for the final matches of the Great Muta. So I know you're big into, you have your history in Japanese pro wrestling and you're also a fan of it. What does the Great Muta's final matches kind of mean to you coming up in 2023?
It's historic. You look back, you look at Muta's career, how long it spanned, everything that he accomplished, everything that he did from his time in WCW to New Japan to All Japan to Noah. It's I have nothing but respect for him. The fact everything that he's done, and at his age, how long he went. It gives me hope. It gives me something to strive for, something to reach for, because he was able to do it at such a high level for so long. That's what I want to do, and now he's able to go off under his own terms, have these matches that he wants to have, and sail off into the sunset. That's something that I would love to be able to do it as long as he did and still go out on his own terms. It's going to be a historic night, historic set of matches, and I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well. I can't wait to see, everything that's going to go down for him, ending off such a legendary career. And you yourself, you're putting together a legendary career. And there's so much to offer in Impact Wrestling right now. And a lot of the fans watching this need to go out of their way to get Impact Plus, Impact Insiders, and tell them kind of all the stuff that they can see from you from Impact Plus, Impact Insiders. And what do you think is your next goal that you want to reach in Impact Wrestling?
Well, Impact, we're also on the zone now as well. That's
yes.
our big thing going on. The great thing about Impact Plus and the zone and Insiders is you can catch up on all the matches. You can catch up on everything. Like, you watch these interviews, you can hear people talk about matches, and then you can go back and you can go find them. You can go back and find the time I beat Bobby Lashley. You can find the time I won the Impact World title for the second time. You can find these moments. You can find when Honor No More was formed inside the Impact Wrestling ring. You can go back and find these moments. And for me, the new year, it's coming up. I just want to continue doing what I'm doing at the highest level. I want to go out there and give my best each and every time I go out in that ring. And in the end, I want that to be with the Impact World title. That is always my goal. But I want to continue going strong with Impact Wrestling and help move this company forward. That's my goal.
And you're doing it. And like I said, I've kind of followed your career from your time in Ring of Honor, and I've seen so many different transformations for you, like starting off in Sweet and Sour in Ring of Honor. I remember those days, to the American Wolves days, to your singles run, to coming to Impact Wrestling as the Wolves, and then all the evolution that we've seen from you, changing your look around 2017, 2018, to your hero run with Honor No More last year. What do you think is the next chapter for Eddie Edwards, because you have so many different kind of chapters in your career so far? What do you think is next?
If it's anything like the past has been, I think the next chapter will reveal itself in time. I don't know what it'll be. I think it's something where it'll happen and we'll know and we'll go with that. Until that moment, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing.
I appreciate you for doing what you're doing and for speaking to me here. Please, Eddie, let the people know where they could follow you and everything you got going on.
You can check me out. I'm only on Twitter at the Eddie Edwards. Check me out on there and follow Impact Wrestling, Impact Plus, Impact Insiders, Impact around the zone. Check us out, Impact on Access TV. Follow us, tune in. You will not be disappointed.
Yes, indeed. Follow Eddie Edwards. Follow Impact Wrestling, Impact Plus, Impact Insiders, Impact on the Zone. It is me. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been Tru Heels BTR, Between the Ropes, with Impact's own Eddie Edwards. We are signing off until next time.